So today, a bunch of news and quotes started popping up on the internet discussing The Last of Us 2, which I had no reason to expect this soon. This is crazy that this stuff is happening right now. And it's coming from fairly reputable sources because it's coming from two voice actors who worked on the first game, who you would think would also work on a second game, and who also happen to be two of the biggest voice actors in the industry. So the first quote comes from Nolan North, the man Nolan North, who we all know as Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series, who also played David, who is one of the bad guys kind of in the middle of the game in The Last of Us. And he was at a panel at some sort of convention, like a comic convention earlier this month, where he basically made a quote where he said, I just know that they're working on The Last of Us 2. And I actually can't find the exact words, so forgive me, guys. But he basically said, yeah, that game is being made. And everyone got excited. And he discussed how he doesn't really know too much about it because obviously his character really didn't, make it necessarily through all of The Last of Us. So there's no reason to think he would be involved in The Last of Us 2. He was really just answering a question about what he might be doing with Naughty Dog. And that's where that information came. So that was pretty crazy. No one really talked about it or picked it up. As far as I can remember, I never heard anything about Nolan North talking about The Last of Us 2. I haven't seen The Last of Us 2 in the news at any point until literally today, so I don't really know why it took until today for that to come out. But what's happened now in the last couple of days is Troy Baker, another one of the biggest voice actors in the industry, who of course performed Joel in The Last of Us. He mentioned how The Last of Us 2 isn't happening, and that's really confusing. I want to see if I actually have... So the way he words it to me is a little bit telling. He was asked about The Last of Us 2. He says, and I quote, "Okay, so I'm... And by the way, I know nothing," he said. "I don't even know if we're going to do another one or not. If we do, then I trust Neil Druckmann, who was a creative director on the first game, and Bruce Straley, and everyone at Naughty Dog to tell a story that needs to be told." So the reason it sounded kind of funny is because he started a sentence and then sort of changed his thought mid-process. Basically, leading to the effect of, I don't know what's happening, I don't think that they're making another one, and if so, then I'm not involved. So, of course, you've got, those two quotes from two very important people who would, have been involved in the first game and work very closely with Naughty Dog. And, of course, they're conflicting ideas. One person is saying, oh, I know that they're working on it. The other one is saying, oh, they're not working on it. I'm waiting to hear about it, kind of thing. And I don't really know what's going on. I just wonder if maybe in in Troy Baker's case, if he's just trying to keep wraps on what's actually going on. There is a discussion on whether or not the next story is even meant to follow Joel, hence why maybe he wouldn't really know what's going on because they wouldn't need him to be performing Joel in the next Last of Us game. So that kind of, gets your head wandering in a couple of different directions. Personally, that could be really cool. It actually could even be great, I should say. I like the idea of maybe The Last of Us is treated like an anthology series where they just tell a couple of different stories and they don't relate to each other, but they're all set in the same world, the same time, with the same issue, with the cordyceps and all that. And that actually could be really cool. However, I just really don't want that because I loved Joel and I loved Ellie. I think that they are two of the best characters I've ever seen in any story ever, let alone a video game. And their story felt very much incomplete. And goddamn it, I want to know what happens next. I want a sequel. I know some people maybe get sick of sequels and maybe they would prefer a brand new idea in the same universe. And like I said, that actually could be great. But immediately with the next game set in that world, if they were going to be making one, I would want it to be a sequel. So it either means that A, he really doesn't know that they're making a new one and they're either not making it or they're making it a different game that doesn't feature Joel, or they are making the new game, he is involved, Joel is around, and he's just basically lying about it. Honestly, my gut feeling with this is that Troy Baker is lying about it, and Nolan North knew what he was talking about when he said, oh yeah, they're making The Last of Us 2, and like I said, Troy Baker's just trying to keep it under wraps, because there's no way in hell that they're not making The Last of Us 2. Naughty Dog is very publicly known as a two-team studio. We know we have the studio, or the team, I should say, that's been making the Uncharted games, and we now have the team that, made The Last of Us, and the Uncharted guys are getting ready to release Uncharted 4 now. Why wouldn't The Last of Us guys be working on a sequel? That game was so massively popular and successful, and it came right at the right time, at the end of the PlayStation 3's life, leading into the PlayStation 4. They made a remastered version for the PlayStation 4 that I think is the best-selling game on the PlayStation 4, and the game won tons of awards. I've said it many times. It might even be my second favorite game of all time. It's a goddamn great game, and the story is incomplete. That's the other thing, it's not even like it was sequel baiting. It was literally incomplete in a way that still felt fulfilling and justified, I thought. So there's nothing but reasons to think that The Last of Us 2 is being made. Naughty Dog isn't stupid. Sony isn't stupid. They're both businesses. They're both companies that want to make money. Last of Us 2 would sell like freaking hotcakes, and it's exactly what the PlayStation 4 needs. Especially if they can announce that in the year following Uncharted 4, like, they need it. And that's exactly what's happening. So that's why, I mean, obviously Troy Baker would be the one to be in the know. So if he, maybe he is telling the truth and they're not making the game, but man, I don't think that they're not. I mean, that makes no sense, right? What reason would they possibly have to not make this? Granted, new IPs are always amazing. And yes, those are ideal. So if they're making a new IP, then I guess you could say that that would be better at the end of the day. And I would have to agree with you because we should have more new ideas than rehashed ideas. But with The Last of Us, I just don't care. I want The Last of Us 2. Like, I love that game, and I want to continue that story. What happens to Joel and Ellie? God damn it. They're such amazing, compelling characters. I want those actors and those characters back. I want to be back in that same world. I want to know what happened after that game cut to black at the end of The Last of Us. So I think Troy Baker is lying through his teeth because he's probably was told not to, and Sony's not ready to reveal that game, I bet, until after Uncharted 4 comes out. I bet Uncharted 4 is Q2, maybe Q1 or Q2 of 2016, and maybe the E3 after that is when they finally reveal The Last of Us 2. It's all primed to be done that way. It's perfect. That's the exact setup you want for Uncharted rolling into Last of Us 2, and everyone will lose their minds, and people will continue buying PlayStation 4s in record numbers, and Sony's happy, and Naughty Dog's happy, and the gamers are happy because we also want that. So I think that it's very strange how this played out. Like I said, with Nolan North having a quote, a couple weeks ago, and then Troy Baker comes out and basically says the exact opposite. And they both would have a reason to know. Granted, Troy Baker would have more of a reason to know accurate information than Nolan North, all things considered. But I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me. To me, it feels like Troy Baker is lying and the game is coming out. So, that's it. Those are my feelings on this information and my theories based on what's going on. Part of it is my hopes and dreams because, like I said, I just want The Last of Us 2 featuring Joel and Ellie that badly. But who knows? I guess we'll have to kind of see. What do you guys think? Did you glean any information from these quotes? Do you think that Nolan North is more accurate? Do you think Troy Baker is accurate? Do you think they're both lying? Do you want The Last of Us 2? Do you want it to be an anthology, or do you just never want The Last of Us to come back? And if so, then you're crazy and you should get off the channel because, god damn it, I love The Last of Us. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Of course, like, share, rate, comment on the video, all those good things. This, of course, is Rob of Rule of Two Review. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time on another video.